That'll hurt the playoff chances, won't it? As the New Jersey Devils lose 4-2 in this afternoon game against the Carolina Hurricanes, who very much so have our number. Very good team in Carolina. I felt like in all three games that we did lose against them this season, we're close and competitive, especially this one. And it kind of came down to goaltending on both sides being decent, but also I'd say almost every goal given up were not the best from both sides. Maybe the actual, what the goalie pulled our second goal really isn't too much on their guy, but yeah. I'm actually going to start off with the trade deadline here at the top as it kind of ties into the rest of the game as a whole. We did ship off Tyler Toffoli officially. Got a mediocre return overall based on some of the rumors that were out there, but given what Gensel got, it's actually not too surprising that Toffoli's return was as low as it was. Not that it was super low, but no first round pick, no crazy prospects, just second and third year off, conditions, stuff like that. So nothing crazy. He did get shipped off to Winnipeg, so it's not like some East Coast team that we really care about potentially resigning him. I don't see Toffoli sticking with Winnipeg, so he'll test the open market. From the sounds from Fitz, that in the negotiations of trying to extend him, they were just way too far apart on term, like completely different mindsets. To me, that just says Fitz was looking at the 2, maybe 3 year range for him, which is what the most I would have wanted to do. And Toffoli, you're probably looking at more 5 if you want to even be on Toffoli's side. Maybe you say he takes 4, but from the sounds of it, I'm talking probably 5 minimum, up 6 potentially. And at his age, no shot, no chance. Not with the age of our core. It just doesn't make sense. For some other teams, that will make sense because their core is going to line up more with Toffoli's age. So those later years are not going to care anyway. Those later years of that Toffoli contract, our core guys are still going to be in their primes between the Hughes brothers, Nemec, even Bratt, Nico, and Timo, even to an extent, will still be in much more prime age ranges than Toffoli would be at the end of that one. So don't hate it at all by shipping him off and getting even some assets in exchange for. I could hear the argument of we are still close enough. You keep him as a personal rental of uh, not gaining assets, but then letting him walk at the end of the season and seeing where it goes. I can see that argument if we didn't have Timo Meyer, but instead now by shipping off Toffoli, Timo's going to get just much more ice time. He's your highest paid forward, power play one time, all that other stuff that comes with it, which is all really good, great stuff. And so for me, all in all, I completely understand the thought process. From there, we did trade off Miller, who was in and out of the lineup anyway. They were using him as a seventh defenseman. I probably would flip him and Smith and have Smith more as the seventh defenseman guy, but close enough. Whatever. Your sixth defenseman is not going to break the world or anything. So ship him off, get a better asset than we gave up to get him. Good asset management there. And then we did a couple goalie moves. We got Jake Allen, by all accounts, is going to be our starter, as we also moved off of Vitek Vanacek, who might not even have played the rest of the season anyway, and got Kaapo Kähkönen from San Jose. So that obviously didn't happen in today's game, as both guys are either traveling, visas, and the like. So Dawson and Schmidt were still here, but when both of those guys are ready to go, Dawson and Schmidt will be sent down and get some playing time and let them actually grow into the role of a goalie, as is the more proper path for a goaltender in the NHL, getting a bit more AHL time under their belts. So love the goalie moves for sure. Fitz said it outright. I'm not going to repeat it too much, but Kähkönen will be basically a stopgap backup goaltender for this season. So unless he absolutely blows the doors off, he will be moved, or not moved. He will not be re-signed. And Allen is the penciled in backup goalie for next season and the penciled in starter for this season. And then going big fish hunting, as Fitz put it, in the goalie market in the off season to get our long-term starter. I'm down with all of that. Sure, we can absolutely still make a run here at playoffs. Today's game did not help, but should give you some confidence. We played very close against Florida, lost. Dominated the Blues, really, won. Played very close to Carolina and lost. So really, if it's not just win more than we lose. It's you got to win at almost a 3-1 type rate, and this game obviously does not help in that cause. But there are still plenty of winnable games to close out the season. Carolina, as we know, is probably one of, if not our hardest matchup. So we are still far from out of it. But you gotta really go on like a 4, 5, 6, 7 game win streak here at one point. to make it close. But do the Penguins lose? Do the Islanders lose? Do the Flyers lose? We'll see how the rest of the day goes in that, as all of those guys losing from here on out will be really big for our chances of making it, because I don't see wildcard really being the spot with Detroit and Tampa. It is going to be that third Metro spot that we've been talking about for almost months now at this point, it feels like. So, what about the game itself? Well, again, I said it here a few times. I thought we played very well. Again, the Nico line, I think this is the first time I'm wearing back-to-back stuff in a video. Played very well. Nico with the essentially the lone goal through the run of play. Looks like the second goal did get credited to Timo Meier. So he continues to just flourish now in these last run of games. Jack got 2 assists, even on a game where, lost the puck a few times, wasn't his best stick puck handling game for sure. Still finds his way onto the score sheet twice, as Jack Hughes is one to do. And I thought our defense played well. Goaltending, though, that first goal just basically can't happen. It is nowhere near screened enough. You had the clean enough look. Wasn't deflected in any way. From the blue line, center ice, you have to have that. And then the second goal, unlucky to an extent, but you got to hug the post there, or you need to not let it bounce back off your back after it hits the far side post and then goes in. I actually care less about the not letting it deflect off your back part, because once it beats you between you and the close post, hits the back post, and then comes back, I mean, it's already, wrapped from there. So yeah, a little frustrating. And then 2 empty net goals I don't care about. The first empty net goal is a little bit more frustrating because we didn't even get set up or anything. The second one, maybe a little bit, because again, it's off the face off. Jack barely gets a stick on it, and then it's right to a Kane, and it's in the back of our net again. So, if those don't happen, do we get the one still with the goalie pulled once we actually got some zone time? Maybe to tie it up to get to overtime. It didn't play out that way, so it doesn't really matter. And so that's really the game. Again, top line with Nico. It was Palat Timo for the longest, but then they put Nico with Bratt and Jack when we were down 1 in the third. I do think that affected Palat and Timo by having, Lazar as their center instead of Nico there. But I still get the thought process. The bottom line, actually, with McDermott Holtz, it did generate, I thought, one really good shift. And then from there, we had a couple of posts with both the Hughes brothers. We didn't really give up a lot of high danger either. It really was. Even the goals that went in were not high danger. Aho did hit a post as well. If we're going to shout those out for us, got to call out the ones that were against. That was it. I don't know. It was a close game. The goal for Nico, also, a very well placed shot. Great setup from Jack, but it's probably when you want your goalie to have, the same way we wanted the first from Natchez against us. So the scramble in front with the pulled goal, with our goalie pulled, it's just, for once we actually scored with the goalie pulled, but it doesn't matter because we were down 2 and then ended up giving up another one anyway. 11 seconds left. Are we scoring there? Maybe. It's possible. Unlikely, but certainly possible. Yeah, I don't think Luka Nemec had too terrible night. Again, I don't think we really gave up too much. It wasn't odd-man chances. We didn't give up absolute backdoor tap-ins. There was a couple that were close, but we got sticks on them. We recovered well. Carolina's a very good team. There's no shame in saying that. You want to win one of these, though. Yeah, it's only 3 games. The first 2 are within 1 goal. This one technically not, because of the empty netters, obviously. And so the power play, probably that 4-on-3. That 4-on-3, that was the spot to tie it up. And we just did not execute it to get the goal. I'm not telling you have to shoot the puck more a little bit, I guess, but 4-on-3, you're kind of really looking for a clean shot there. And the Canes are so good, so good at taking away that time and space and taking out lanes. They had a ton of block shots, lots of sticks in the lanes, and just not making your life easy. But this is a team that's in our division we're going to probably go up against for a number of years here to come. So we got to figure out how to play against that play style here at some point. Part of that is no other team in the NHL really plays this at all. So it's not like you get practice throughout the rest of the season. But we are one of the teams that's going to get more practice against it than most, being, in their division. So, yeah, I don't really have too much else to say. It's kind of the same story now for a run of games here. Can't wait for Allen and Kokkonen to get in here and see what we can do with a couple of different goalies back there. Does it rejuvenate the boys? Do we go on an absolute tear of a run to close out the season and make playoffs with a couple of different goalies? Keep out that hope. So that's going to do that for this one. Call it there. Got some more games coming up, and we'll see how they go. So, as always, and forever, let's go down.